Hi there and welcome to The Sage. My name is Catherine. Today I want to talk about thought. Now this has been a big part of what I have studied for the last 12 months, and everything is, you hear people say everything is mind, and everybody goes, oh yeah, we understand that. But do you really? Because I didn't understand how it all works, how in detail it all works. Now, nothing happens without a thought. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, if you don't, a very simple example, if you don't think about going to the shops and buying something, well, then it's never going to happen, is it? And so everything starts with a thought. Most of the time, we're not aware of what we're actually thinking about. And so apparently, from studies, scientists say that we have something like 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them go in loops. We keep thinking about the same shit. And so one can then say, what a waste of time. Why am I thinking about the same stuff? And maybe you did realize at some point that you were thinking about the same stuff, but most people don't. Most people are not aware enough of their thoughts to actually do anything about them. It's just whatever. It is what it is. We just don't even take any notice sometimes. And if we are not aware of our thoughts, then we are led on a complete roller coaster in life. You know, we're not aware of the positive thoughts. We're not aware of the negative thoughts. We are not aware of the thoughts that are looping in our mind. And so we get looped all day, and negative thoughts tend to have a bigger impact because they are more emotionally driven, and we tend to stew on negative stuff. You know, the world is filled with drama, and you know, you look at all the TV shows. I haven't watched TV for like 10 years, but I used to at some point. And so if you have a look at the TV or watch the TV at some point, the most watched programs are about horror, trauma, and intrigue and negative stuff. And you turn on the news and that's more of a horror story than anything that Disney can come up with. So negativity has more of an impact on our thoughts. You know, if we have drama in our family, that's something that goes around and around. You think about it, you worry about it, you do all sorts of things about it. And whereas the positive is less, you think about it and it's great, but then negativity seems to linger more. And so what I want to sort of say in this video is that we need to learn how to take control of our thoughts. We need to be aware of what our thoughts are and how to manage those thoughts and say, well, why am I thinking about this? Does it even serve me? Is it just ridiculous silliness that goes through my head? Or is it actually real? Is it true? And most of the time, we believe something to be true, but is it really? So rather than ruminating on things that we think might be true, well, why don't you just ask? And then that would settle that argument, whether it's true or not. But a lot of the time, people think of things and then they have a thought in their head, and then it escalates from there. And what they're thinking about turns into a home movie, and then all of a sudden you're just whisked off your feet and your mind goes completely somewhere else. And you've spent half an hour on something that is complete bullshit. Sorry for the language, but that's what it is. So what is it that we're actually thinking about? Is it valid? Is it even worth my time? Is it true? Is it actually true what I'm thinking about? Or am I just fearing something to be true that I really need to find out? And so, we go on an investigation of something or someone to see whether that is true or not. And so the trick to really start managing your thoughts is to first of all become aware of them. And the way that I've done it is that I've done a lot of contemplation in my time, and I used to meditate 2 hours, the one facing north and one facing south, because we're polar in nature. And you learn a lot in 2 hours. And so it is amazing that if you sit still and quiet, no music, no distraction, no interaction, no dogs, no children, no partner, no nothing, and just sit. It is amazing that you realize how many thoughts come into your mind. And, the difficulty in stopping them. Yeah, I can nearly guarantee you sit there and say, I'm not going to think of anything, and then there's like 100,000 thoughts coming into your head. And so this is what needs to happen for one's awareness to the fact that, what are the thoughts? Are they negative? Are they positive? What are they? What is it that I'm actually spending my valuable time thinking about? And so if you sit nearly every day, only for a few minutes, it doesn't need much because the thoughts will come, then you will realize what it is that you're thinking about. And how we start to control it is taking a step back and do not put any emotion into any of the thoughts that come into your mind. And you don't attach any feeling, any mind conversation with those thoughts. But instead you just take a step back, and it's like seeing these thoughts just drift past, and you just watch them. You become an observer, and so there's no attachment to those thoughts. And that is a little difficult to start off with, but the more you practice and the more you become aware of them, then it's easier to step back. It's easier to go, well, what is that? Why am I thinking about that? And once you become aware, then you can start to write them down. Write the thoughts down, just a little scribble. You know, I'm thinking about mum, or I'm thinking about my boyfriend, or I'm thinking about work, or I'm thinking about the pizza, or whatever it is. And so once you start doing that, then you can go back and look at what you've written down. And if you take a space of a week and the same things, oh, hang on a minute, that thought came up the same yesterday and the day before and 2 days before that. So you start to see a thread in your thought patterns. And so to change or to halt those thought patterns, you need to interrupt them by stepping back. And I'm not saying physically step back, but detach yourself from them and just see them in your mind float by. And so by detaching, you don't put emotion or feeling into them, and so therefore you don't connect with the thought. You just see them fly past and then out. And it's interesting then how you become calmer. Number one, you become more settled, because whatever that is that's flowing past you in your mind has no effect on you. No thought and nothing that anyone can say to you can affect you unless you allow it to. So I hear a lot of people say, do you not understand how that affects me? Well, that's your choice. Whatever anyone says cannot make you feel anything unless you allow that to happen. And so any of the thoughts that come through your mind cannot affect you unless you allow it, unless you put feeling or emotion or energy into that thought. And so taking a step back and allowing to distance yourself from these thoughts will how will I describe this? Will give you a different perspective, that a perspective that is not so close, and it's like watching it from a third party, and so it doesn't concern you as much, and so therefore it's easier to look at it. If there is an issue, look at that in a more effective and productive way, and not so emotional. And so rather than act oh my God, I have this thought and I've got to act. If you allow yourself to detach from the thought a little bit, then you have a space. And within that space, you can have more of a chance to digest the thought and respond in a completely different way, a way that serves you better, a way that is not so influenced on emotion, but that is more aligned to what you would like the ultimate and most beneficial outcome to be. And it's so interesting that, you know, we go through, we think we've got it. We think we're all over this. I know how to respond. I don't act. But to your own thoughts, because they are so personal and they come in through your head and lingers, and sometimes we're not even aware that we put emotion into them. So I'm going to sort of leave it here, just as the first video, really. But even the concept of just thinking about this subject and becoming aware that you're actually not aware of what you're thinking is a big step. So the easiest way to become that awareness is just have a break, just sit quietly and just say, I'm not going to think about anything now, right, for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and see what comes into your head and be open to see what comes into your mind and see what that is, and see everything. What is it? What is it that I'm thinking about? And is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? What is it? And who am I thinking about? What am I thinking about? And once you've sat and maybe have a chance to write things down, then start to question, why am I thinking about that? Have I got some weird and wonderful thought process about something that's not actually true or correct? That it's just my imagination, right? There's nothing wrong with imagination. Imagination is super, super important, but not to drag you away from what's actually true and real. Because our thoughts can, most of the time, they're not real. And we worry about the future. We're worried about something that might come and get us from the past. And so there's a lot of, we're fearing what's going to happen next week, or, what's my new job's going to be, or whatever. And so it's important to just become aware. And I think becoming aware is just a massive step. And so I hope that you guys take a minute and sort of just do that and see what comes into your mind. And if you want to, you can comment, right? And if you want some additional insights, then send me a message and I'll respond to you. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.